things that they're using in this tournament. First of all, chest size matches content.
And it looks like we're off.
And it looks like we're off. So chest size matches contents. Basically, the big chests will usually contain an item.
Also, don't the gossip statues also provide hints?
The gossip stones provide hints, and they do not need the Mask of Truth, which is a vanilla requirement. Also, they're using dungeon skulls in this setting, which means that these golden scatollas in dungeons can contain items, or keys, or a boss key. And chests, or other NPCs, might give you a token instead. So, this should be a very interesting race. Not finding any...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say they didn't find anything in the Kokiri sword chest.
Well, we have at least one big item here.
Yep. And it's a bottle.
To be precise, a bottle of red potion, so at least they can heal if needed.
Yes, they could heal the guy in a Kana can. Oops, wrong game.
Yeah, that's Majora's Mask. Still a great Zelda game.
I agree.
Though I have heard the upcoming Breath of the Wild 2 is supposed to be darker than that.
I had no idea there was going to be a sequel.
Yeah, they teased it at the end of the Nintendo Direct.
Oh, that's definitely something to look forward to. And it looks like we already have a divergent route. Asdor is taking the South Hyrule strategy, it looks like, and Datsu, let's see what this hint. Frogs in the river is dead, yeah. It's like 5 bombs or something. So that's Frogs 2 with all the Ocarina songs, and they do not need to do that. That was way too fast. I did not see that here.
It said something about Shadow. That's all I got out of it.
I thought it was 20 Scatollas, but... So the hints we're really looking for is 50 Scatollas, 40, 30...
I'm just surprised that they don't make them have to go up to 100. But I know that that would make it way too long.
Plus, it would be kind of stupid to get that yellow rupee when you could just kill the Skull Kid in the forest over and over and get the same thing.
Of course, if I recall correctly, they're backwards because it's the fastest form of movement apart from rolls, and a bunch of the, what is it, Super Slide is the term? When they're basically using a bomb to blast themselves backwards?
Yeah, there's a Super Slide, and then there's a Pass, Hyperextended, which I'm not really sure what the difference is. It might just be speed.
I think it is speed, but don't quote me on that one.
Someone in chat asked if chests with the token are big, and I'm assuming if they mean can a big chest contain a skull token. And to be 100% honest, I'm not entirely sure on that.
I don't think so, since we saw them both pick up one out of one of the grottos, and it was in a smaller chest.
It may be possible, but I'm not sure with these settings. I usually don't play chest side matches contents, so... That was a Sun Song hint, but I did not see where that's located.
And we call it part of it as well.
And apparently Datsa wants an empty bottle. I think he's going to pick up some bugs.
Always useful.
There are an awful lot of bugs in this game.
In both senses, in both meanings, you mean?
Yeah, that was a little pun there. 50 gold skulls look like bomb chews, so 50 is.
At least for now, it looks like both of our runners are retracing each other's footsteps.
Wow, that was so fast, I couldn't even read that.
I think it said something about fairy fountains, but I couldn't notice that one. Oh, and Sun Song's Ice Trap.
Spawns an ice trap. I assume that means Sun Song Grave.
Either that or maybe the Ice Cave, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it would mean Sun Song Grave.
Ah, and thank you, chat.
Shadow Temple is foolish. So they're basically saying there's nothing good in Shadow Temple.
Yes, and thanks, chat. What they're saying here is 20 gold Skulltulas is basically, we'll get you another one. So nothing real major so far. Looks like we got a fishing game check.
I like mine fried with a little tartar sauce.
Ah, good old fish and chips. Always good. Although, did you ever manage to actually get the fish without getting the sunken lure? So no, I could never do it without it.
I've seen it done where they can instantly catch a fish, but I am not very good at this minigame myself, so...
As I said, I only managed to beat it using the sunken lure, and that was for the lurch.
At least it's not as bad as Twilight Princess.
Which version, HD or regular?
I don't think I've ever played the HD version.
I've played it briefly. It's decent. Ooh,
and the weird egg. Wow, okay. That opens up quite a bit. So that opens up the traditional 3-song route where you go and get ZL song and then visit Melon and then to the forest.
And there's the Scarecrow setting up the Scarecrow song.
And that is Goron's Lullaby, in case anyone cares. I could not see what that item was.
Neither could I.
And there's everyone's favorite owl.
Oddly enough, it's the same name as what... I think it's the same name as one of the Zelda characters from... God, I forget what its name, but it's from Skyward Sword, I think.
You mean the owl's name?
Yeah, and oddly enough, I should know it, as I see it every time I've got to play Smash Bros. Ultimate.
It's like Kope Berea or something weird like that.
As I said, I should know it because it's actually in the World of Light route, so... That's a fun fact.
Kabora Gabora, according to chat. So, it's something like that.
Yeah, I believe that is its name. And apparently they're also saying that the ice arrows are in the lake, but they're unsure. So we got a Zora's Domain check and the shooting game.
Of course, ice arrows are super useful, so we got to make sure we pick those up.
And Datsu's hint was something about the big Poe.
Big Poe's heart piece, according to chat. Thank God for chat.
Yes, thank God, because they're matching way too fast for us to follow everything. Ooh, and a gold rupee on Isidore's side.
Yeah, that's kind of a waste of 100 rupees, but better than nothing, I guess.
It's a waste because they only had the kid-sized wallet.
And let's see what Richard Little has today.
I don't know about you, but are you hoping for something at the actual Ocarina of Time spot?
Just a vanilla piece of heart from Richard Little. And, yeah, there's only a few circumstances where it will be an all dungeon seed. That is if ZL is on Ocarina, or if Nocturne, which may or may not be required depending on if Shadow is required. And of course there are...
Go ahead.
Okay, Zora's River Frog's definitely dead, but yeah, I was going to say there are a few other really strange scenarios that can make it an all-dungeon seed. And it's a little bit too complicated to go into right now, but it can happen.
I can say this much. Apparently it's a lot rarer than having a pedestal seed in A Link to the Past. Oh, right. Water Temple.
That was Water Temple's Way of the Hero.
So, if I recall correctly, that means an item is needed there? Oh, I should say gained.
So, right, that means there's a progression item there. It could mean that it's an item that is needed elsewhere, which means that, let's say it's like the slingshot or something, and then you need it for the target in the woods, which would make the slingshot the Way of the Hero. In these settings, you could also have something like the Corpus Tunic if fire attacks required. So it's really kind of weird exactly what that means. But it usually means that at least one progression item is in that temple, or in that location.
Gotta love Navi spam.
Hey! Hey! Let's get some haze in chat. Hey!
And Datsu picking up his magic beans.
I believe that it is all locations accessible in this setting. So one weird thing about the settings they chose is they skipped the tower collapse sequence, but they don't skip the stealthy guard sneaking sequence.
I think that's because the stealthy guard part is needed, but don't quote me on that one. I think someone mentioned it a while back, and she's been at least one of the things, but... Ooh, and the invitation, the normal thing.
Well,
Epona song.
It's not exactly that this is needed, and saying that you could either have it on or off. When I run, I usually turn it off, just because it's annoying.
And that was Epona's song on Isidore's side.
Yep, it's Asder.
Sorry, not the best of names. I'll try to remember.
At least that's how I pronounce it.
As they're doing the chicken game, while Datsu is looting Kakariko. And Tabin just gives $5.
Yeah, so you pay 10 and you get 5. Guess it's better than buying flippers from Zora in A Link to the Past.
Yeah, I was just about to make that joke as well.
Sorry, I beat you to it.
It's cool. Ooh, Prelude of Light.
That isn't even on the tracker, and that's because most people consider it useless.
I know I personally liked it when I was playing it. When I was playing the game casually, just because I liked the melody to it.
It's good for mask creating that and Nocturne, but sorry, so Deku Mask is not going to be required. Not Deku Mask, Skull Mask is not required in this setting, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Deku Mask. I was just playing MM the other day. So I got that stuck in my head.
And it looks like the item in the barn was another Scarlet token.
It sure was. I like that peeking at it trick.
Isidore back in the village while Datsu is headed back to Hyrule Field. Isidore picking up his shield plus some basic supplies like Deku Nuts.
Asder may be making a Deku Tree play now. And that certainly looks like that's where he's going.
While Datsu is dancing between two skeletons.
I think Datsu messed up his day-night cycle. He's just waiting for daytime so he can get into Castle Market.
Most likely, and Isidore's got the infinite sword glitch if the color scheme is correct, making it look like a lightsaber.
What was that on Ocarina of Time?
Storms, I think.
Well, okay, we may have an AD seed. Although, technically, that only opens up 2 grottos in the well and logic.
Ooh, silver scale.
Silver scale. Although there are other ways to get into the well, Cuckoo Glitch or Navi Dive.
Datsu trying to go through Hyrule Castle while Asder is in the tree. Ooh, letter in a bottle.
That would be Rudo's letter.
Oh, and magic.
And magic. Awesome. Magic is a good early find. And a compass chest. Wow.
I think that was water. Oh, wait, Water Temple was on the way to the hero, so same.
And it looks like we've got a strength from that gold skull. That's our first example of a gold skull sanity item. Yeah, Deku Tree seems to be loaded today.
As they're picking up some more rupees, because 350 rupees. That's just their invitation plus their Epona Lullaby.
Epona's Lullaby, is that a new song? Is that like if you play half of CL and half of Epona's song, you get Epona's Lullaby?
Sorry. Still. And Zeus at Goma. Isidore picking up the reward from Goma while Datsu's doing everything at the ramp. And just a map.
It's very helpful to get your map when you've already completed the dungeon.
Hey, it's better than actually giving the actual title deed in Majora's Mask to the actual hand as toilet paper.
And I have no idea what medallion or crystal he just picked up.
Hopefully we'll get to see once they open their menu. Chat saying they think it might be the Goron Ruby. And 40
Alright,
so
40
there's
is
a piece of card.
dead. Yep. So, don't need to do 40, don't need to do 20. We still don't know about 30 or 50 yet.
According to chat, that was the ruby.
Chat is usually correct. I couldn't tell.
Chat's got so many eyes that basically they can help us out with that. Ooh! Ezra's got Bombchus.
Okay. Now, that means with Bombchus considered in logic, which is the settings they're playing with, now Astor can buy Bombchus from any of the shops, and it also means that Bombchu Bowling is open now, as opposed to needing the bomb bag regularly.
So you're using the bugs to see what's in the actual magic bean hole.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Scatola. Okay, so Astor just did a power crouch stab, damage storage there, and a broken stick glitch, in case anyone was wondering why he was jumping around like an idiot there.
What's the broken stick glitch? I know the power storage is so that way they can continuously stab at max damage.
Broken stick glitch, okay, so normally when you use a Deku stick, it breaks, and then anything you hit it with. If you do a jump slash against something hard, like a wall, you get a broken stick, which you can use as much as you want on that screen. So, pretty useful.
Ah. The Saria song check coming up.
And it is Song of Time.
Very, very useful.
Yep. That especially comes into play with Dungeon Skull settings, because in the adult dungeons, there's at least one Song of Time block in each of those dungeons that is blocking a skull. So,
as they're getting the same hit as before about the Ocarina with the Song of Storm. And I think that was Fire Temple on the Way of the Hero.
Fire is Way of the Hero. Water is Way of the Hero.
And something only gives
something 30
rupees, I think.
Arrows or something. Might have been 30 skulls. That was so fast I didn't see it.
And Dacho now has magic as well. And his letter in a bottle from Princess Ruto. Azador having the silver scale does not need to actually glitch into the warp.
But he is going to have to go find himself a chicken if he wants to try to get into Domain that way.
Yeah, the Cuckoos are, just amusing in this game. Is that a Mega Flip?
That is precisely what that is.
Oddly enough, I know Link to the Past actually has discovered quite a few things lately that they're trying to pull names from Ocarina.
And we saw our 20 skull again. There's a Lens of Truth. Maybe. Maybe it's an ice trap. Who knows? It's not like either of these runners really needs to grab the Lens of Truth. They know how to do everything without it.
Apparently the Bigoron sword crafting is 30 arrows. And I thought you said True of Light wasn't going to help. Medallion check, I think, coming up, along with switching to Adult Link.
Quite possibly.
So you'll soon know where all the medallions are.
Alright, chat. Time to pay attention.
So
okay, that was way too fast.
I call it part of it saying forest, shadow, water, and I forget the rest.
It looked like Shadow was Shadow. Shadow was Hyrule Field was Way of the Hero.
So apparently, let's see, Spirit, Shadow, Forest, and Jabu. Or at least 4. Worst case, we at least know what some of the dungeons are going to be that they need to go to.
Alright, obviously fire and water, since they're both Way of the Hero. And it looked like Hyrule Field was our third Way of the Hero, and I don't know if we saw the fourth yet.
Light equals spirit, forest equals, Jabu Jabu, forest, well, fire isn't forest, water isn't fire, shadow's vanilla, and, the spirit's, freebie. At least according to chat. Well, that's if I'm reading it right. Tatsu having their Goron Ruby. Wonder where they'll go next. Ooh, Isidore picking up their Hyrulean shield.
Alright, so If that's right, according to chat, can our trackers get that updated, please?
Another grotto check. Ooh, Megaton Hammer for Ezador.
Now, I would say that is our Hyrule Field Leia the Hero item.
Most likely. Apart from being needed in Fire Temple, I'm trying to remember where else it's useful, apart from destroying rocks.
Basically just opening grottos and stuff. It's also very helpful in the Dongos.
Yes, to answer the question in chat, Datsu went to Castletown first. Well, went to Kakariko, then Castletown, if I recall.
And I wouldn't even say that Datsu is behind right now. They're retracing each other's steps. It's kind of hard to definitively say at this point in the seed that any one of them is in the lead.
Most likely, and Datsu now having access to Bomb 2s, along with having their power bracelet.
Now, I do know from Datsu's previous playing style that he does like to do extended child sequence, where we saw Astor go earlier adult.
Probably trying to route and everything so they only have to do 1 or 2 transformations between the two. One of the things I still love about Kakariko Village in this game, Nintendo Power's official guide gave you the entire ability to play this on the ocarina in the game. Auto check. Ooh, ice trap.
Everybody loves ice traps.
Except for the runners, if they're having to go to the very back of a dungeon and that's all that's there, like the ice cave.
And a purple rupee from the guy on the roof.
I forget what he's doing there in Vanilla. I guess, is it just staring up at the sky or what? Or reminiscing about how everything's changed?
I vaguely remember. I never read dialogue.
I did as a kid. I still try to on that one, depending on the game. Ooh, Sun Song!
So now they can go to Sun Song Grave and get their ice trap if they want.
I still love one of the most amusing fan theories about how the old guy, you know, the person in the actual windmill knows the Song of Storms, which he learned from Link, you know, from the past, you know, in that infinite loop of how the heck did it start.
Well, this is the Ocarina of Time, so who knows?
Oh, trust me, there's a lot of fan theories, like how... God. Isn't there one that's like for, what? Twilight Princess actually being warped back to Temple of Time or something like that? You know, during the part where Link's asleep. I think someone's theory is like that. There's a lot of weird ones for this game.
That looked like the bottom of a yellow rupee in the graveyard crate. So.
I think it was a Skulltula token. At least it looked like it to me.
In either event, it's probably not needed. And here's one question I have for you. How can Dampé be doing tracking if Dampé is currently throwing fireballs at Asder?
It's better than him allowing you to make dungeons in the upcoming Link's Awakening remake. Then again, that is actually a cool thing.
So I'm waiting for a Zelda Maker. I know we have Mario Maker, but a Zelda Maker would be really cool.
That's sort of like one of the extra things in Link's Awakening remake. You can get pieces of dungeons and actually make your own mini dungeons.
That's pretty cool.
No word yet on if or not you can trade it to other people. Ooh, hover boots! According to the chat, the graveyard crate was a token.
Like I said, they don't need it. And it looks like Asder missed the void out there, so he's going to have to hop back in that grave. If you quickly side hop in there and side hop out, you could void out and it brings you back to the beginning of the race.
Asder going for the second Dampé item. Just a heart. Oh, that's so... Yes,
Not
picking up
so
the Lens of Truth.
Getting the lens.
I mean, it does have its uses. Ooh, free heart container.
Are we about to see Dotso do this chickenless? That was beautiful. I didn't know you could do that. I thought you had to use a Coco to get in there.
Not sure I missed it because I was wondering if Asder was going to check the, you know, archery game. Ooh, 40 gold.
40 skulls is dead.
Does that only leave 10, or have we seen them all?
I'm not sure if we've seen 30 hint yet, but there is no hint for 10. So. I suppose you don't really need a hint for 10, as it's easy enough to get them.
Very, very true.
So 30 may still be something. We don't know yet.
And Datsu's farming Deku sticks. More bomb shoes for Asder. Looks like Datsu is checking Jabu Jabu, which we know is required.
And of course that means you get to carry everyone's favorite fish around.
Okay, think of it this way. I think they based the whole fact that Ruto liking Link on the Breath of the Wild whole stuff with Mipha.
Could very well be. That's so finally getting that. Datsu's realizing he doesn't have a boomerang.
Here's hoping Datsu manages to find something useful in here.
Well, at the very least, you can carry the precious princess upstairs and, you know, do a few checks in here, even if you don't have the boomerang yet.
Very true.
Saves time later.
Makes you wish you could actually use her as a projectile.
Oh, but you can on those tongue things that hang from the ceiling.
Wow, didn't know that. I guess he's useful for something.
Now, if you've ever seen the Master, and there it was just done. I was going to say, if you've ever seen the Master Quest dungeon for this, it looks really weird as it's got a bunch of cows hanging out everywhere. It's just really strange looking.
The Master Quest version of this game really does, you know, hide some things in very, very, very hard to find places. Remember the Fire Temple not being able to see some of the torches on the wall because where they put them was basically in the corner, surrounded by black, you know, the shadows, like those were hard as anything to find. light arrow pickup.
Okay. Bottom of the well is our fourth way of the hero, which logically makes it an all dungeon seed now.
How?
Because Ocarina teaches Song of Storms.
Oh.
And within logic, you'd need Song of Storms to get into the well, even though technically there are other ways to get into it.
Yeah, they're probably going to glitch their way into that one.
I'm just saying that the logic the seed wants you to follow.
Yeah. Here's hoping, chat, they decide not to do that. I believe that was another hint with Water Temple being on the way of the hero.
There are so many duplicate hints.
I'm surprised they haven't started doing what Z1R does with just adding in joke hints and community, memes.
Yeah, they do. It depends on your settings. I think they're playing...
You were saying?
I was saying I think they're playing with strong hint settings, so they tend to give you better information with the settings that they're using for the tournament, so...
More bomb twos for Asder. Still no bomb chat though.
Nope. No bomb bag yet. And there's our Nocturne. What a great time for Asder to pick that up. With like 2 seconds on the clock. Brilliant.
Yeah, I agree with chat. There is really nothing wrong with a little bit of survivability in this type of a game.
Apparently, Dotso wanted to know what time it was. Oh, I see what Dotso was doing. He was short on rupees.
I think everybody's always short on rupees, even in real life. And Dotso picking up their Megaton Hammer. As they're checking through the Fire Temple now. When did they get a fairy in a bottle? Infinite storage goods Megaton Hammer. Now that is something. Ah, the good old towel rooms. At least in Ocarina of Time, it isn't basically an auto-scroller.
Does anyone actually likes?
Actually, I do, but then again, only if they're stealing your shield. As it does cut down a bit of lag.
In this game, apparently they can steal your tunic, too.
Wow, didn't know that. They can steal the shirt off your back. All that animation for a tiny chest. Oh, good God. Asdor's got the bow with light arrows. Well, if this was a Link to the Past, I'd say they basically have the ability to one-shot everything. But I think that's close enough with light arrows, if I'm wrong. I could be mistaken, though.
So, at this point, I would say Asdor does have a clear lead. It could change. There's still a lot more of the seed left, but for the moment, he seems to be quite ahead.
Well, Datso is playing some Bombchu bowling. I do love every time you actually do hit the cuckoo, because it always makes me think of, you know, Hyrulean Fried Cuckoo, or HFC for short. Hook shot for Datso.
And so as I was saying before, with Aster being slightly ahead and it can change, you can see how quickly these races can change. And Datso will be doing the same checks that Aster did. It's only a matter of time. So.
Malon paying Link.
So yeah, so this is a very interesting thing with the settings they're used. With chest size matches contents, the little gilded chests that you see in some of the dungeons will always have a small key in them. So it's a little interesting tidbit there.
But it looks like we're actually getting a small raid.
Well, let's see if Aster can do this in time. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, fairy, so I think that does help.
He has a fairy?
Yep.
Well, that confirms it. Well, Vagia is extremely hard to hit with arrows.
Correctly, isn't there a timer glitch if you manage to die and that are revived? Was that the long shot for Datsu? Or just a second hook shot?
Those are progressive, so whichever one you get first is going to be the hook, the next one's going to be the long.
Okay, then Datsu has the long shot.
That's something Aster probably will not be checking for quite some time, especially considering he didn't pick up the lens. And nice Volvagia fight there on Aster's side.
And it looks like Datsu is just about to go to become an adult as well. I think we have someone in chat asking what's it mean for the randomizer glitched.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think someone just helped out with providing the command for it.
Who needs commentators? Chat can just help themselves. I'm going to bed. Good night. Just kidding.
I think, you know, the one nice thing about it is having someone actually be able to read chat to chat.
I mean, I like watching races and seeing what the commentators can come up with and how entertaining they could be, and sometimes they're even more entertaining than the runners, so it's pretty funny.
Yes. At the same point, always try to combine it so that way we just do our best to complement the runners, especially for this amazing race. Speaking of runners, don't forget to follow Asder and Dotso, you know, since they're providing us with such an excellent race.
Apparently, chat wants to try to understand why it's specified as glitched. Okay. So basically, there are two types of settings that will be in a tournament: accessible or glitched. Accessible is basically you can't use any glitches whatsoever, except for maybe, I believe a ground jump is allowed in that, and there's a couple of others. But glitched means basically anything goes. And in this tournament, they said no item manipulation and no wrong warps. So that's pretty much
also the best way to describe it. That's an OOT have two glitchless categories. I think honestly, glitchless would be what glitchless with the restrictions, I guess.
I'm not sure if glitched and glitchless is a different thing. I thought glitchless was accessible. Or maybe the
I'm not sure. I'm just trying to get a sense of what it would mean in settings terms as far as just comparing it to the leaderboard. And again, I know. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Go first. Stop it. Serious.
Go ahead, because I completely just forgot what I was going to say.
I was just going to try to answer their questions. So, the reason that they have no IM or wrong warp on this particular tournament is because the community decided ahead of time, here's what we're going to allow and here's what we're not going to allow. So that's just the settings that they chose.
That, and I think it would probably break the randomizer.
Right, because then it wouldn't be randomizer. Would basically be bottle hunt, and the seed would be over in about 20 minutes. So what would be the point?
Well, hey, they do have an entire category where it's like, what, blue percent where they turn everything into bottles or something? Ooh, gold gauntlets. And I missed the slingshot pickup for Asdor as well.
Yeah, I think the slingshot came off a skull and fire, but I'm not 100% certain of that.
I think gold gauntlets also came off of a skull. So I have to go with silver. I'm pretty sure it was just the gold.
How can somebody have gold gauntlets already? I missed those pickups.
I saw Asdor, get something that looked like that from one of the Skulltulas.
It may have been the Goron bracelet.
Yeah, because it was in Fire Temple.
Unless it was an ice trap, maybe. they could sometimes have fake items.
Could have been.
Because the way progressive items work, you would have had to gotten silver gauntlets before you could get gold. So the first strength you get would be the bracelet, the second would be silver, and the third would be the gold. And I honestly don't think he found all 3 strengths yet, unless I missed something.
Nah, don't think so. It doesn't look like they have it on the arms either.
So there we go, chat's confirming that the gauntlets were an ice trap.
Looks like that's just about to pick up their light arrows. So what do you prefer, light arrows or silver arrows? Or whatever it is in Wind Waker? I think that's also light arrows.
Well, of course, Big Goron's sword in this one, in my opinion, is better than Great Fairy's sword in Majara's Mask. I've always found it kind of weird to have to use a sword on a C button, honestly.
I think that was, excuse me, done for a deliberate reason, but I can't remember on that one. Although I do have to say, I think the Fierce Deity's Mask trumps all.
Did it just say Astor, it's so hot in here on Datso's screen?
Yes, because his file name is Asdor.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Chat asking if they could slow down and change the name of the channel to Slow Gaming.
And did Datso just pick up Minuet, I think?
I think so, since they are in the Fire Temple.
I mean the song Minuet. Pretty sure he just picked that one up. Trackers.
If they're in the Fire Temple, then yeah, they probably did.
Now, Astor didn't get the song checked in the bridge yet, but Datso did. So.
According to chat, the reason why the fairy sword was C button is apparently to prevent them from having to upgrade their sword. And apparently they're also saying that both of them do have Minuet.
Yeah, I'm actually fairly certain Datso didn't, or Astor didn't pick it up. I think he went into fire directly without picking it up yet. So I know Datso has it, but not 100% sure Astor did the check yet.
Not sure either. We'll see. If they go to the bridge, then we know they don't have it. If they don't, then they do. And wow, that was a tongue twister. And apparently
getting his bow.
Apparently chat is confirming that Asdor does have the Minuet. Prelude of Light getting some work. Natsu picking up their slingshot.
Yep. So now that's confirmed.
So Natsu has all the projectiles. Good one apart from the other types of arrows.
Is somebody knocking on the door? Does anyone else hear that, or is it just on my end?
No, I hear it too. I don't know what's up on that one.
Somebody is knocking on my door.
Oh, according to chat, it's his low health sound.
Alright, that makes sense then.
And the question in chat, it's hard to tell right now because Datsu's got the long shot and is going through Fire Temple while Asdor's looking like they are just about to pick up their hook shot. And yes, it would be amazing if just jumping in water in this game would heal you. Although technically it does if you go to a fairy fountain. And shoutouts to the fact that this time it does not just say boing, boing, boing with the hook shot.
So I'd say, yeah, they're pretty much neck and neck right now, but the deciding factor may be the long shot in this game. Because I don't think Asdor got the lens, if I remember correctly.
No, Asdor did not.
He's got sons, so I mean there are other ways to do the chess game.
Really? I only knew about the Lens of Truth being able to let you cheese it by just seeing what's in the chests.
There's something called Ocarina items. If you want to know more about how it works, just do a web search for it. There's plenty of information out there about it.
Datsu going through their dragon fight. And yeah, that just confirms that Asdor does have Minuet. They just used it. Looks like they're going through the Forest Temple.
Yep, we're about to get our first look in the forest. Meanwhile, Datsu is finishing up Volvagia.
Now that was Silver Gauntlets.
Yep. No ice traps there.
That's picking up their water medallion. Makes you wonder though, if they didn't skip the Chamber of Sages, would the actual NPC be shuffled? I'm assuming that it would just still be Darunia.
They shuffle medallions. I don't know what the point of shuffling the NPCs would be.
Sorry you missed that, was checking something.
So we have a lot of small keys and scatullas today.
So checking out Goron City while Asder is going through forest. I'm surprised neither of our runners have thought about just clipping into the bottom of the well just to get that over with, so that way they don't have to go all the way through Agarena. And the map for Asda, I guess they'll be happy they know where they are now. While Datso is starting to explore forest as well. Still no regular bombs though for either of our runners. Ooh, and gold skill pickup for Asdor. Not really necessary for our runners, but still a very useful pickup.
We don't have irons yet, so Gold Scale is an alternate way of doing Water Temple. At least most of it.
Ah, good old Phantom Ganon. A remnant from when the developers were going to make the game similar to Super Mario 64 and have a hub world with Link having to enter each area through a painting or something like that. And that's Phantom getting down for Asdor.
That is a very clean fight on Asdor's side.
Let's see what the heart container item is. Just the compass. So I believe that's their fire medallion.
It sure was.
There's the new Deku tree. Shoutouts to Wind Waker, where it's all.
That BK skip is one of my favorite BK skips. It's so simple to do.
Yes, well, our runners are retracing each other. Let's shout them out again, and everybody, please go and follow Asdor and Datso. We're putting on such an excellent race for us. Also, don't forget to follow our tracker, Dempe, and I forget how to pronounce the other name. As without them, we could not, help you all follow this amazing action. My god, how glitchy this game is. It's just so fun to watch.
Okay, we're gonna get a look into Ice Cavern now.
Okay, I'm back. Did I miss anything major?
We haven't seen anything new yet in Ice Cavern on Astor's side.
Okay. So I had ordered food and just had to go grab it. So this is looking like it's going to be an insanely fun and long race.
Well, there's our gold gauntlets. And that's the real ones, not a nice trap there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Because they got the gold gauntlets in ice, but a fake set in fire.
Now we've got the bombs. Yep.
It's not as huge of a pickup if they didn't have bomb juice, but that just makes it a lot more easier to do a lot of the bomb stuff.
Yep, now we technically have infinite explosives. Or I should say refillable at least.
Bombs. Very useful in almost every Zelda game, and can damage you in every Zelda game but Z1. The answer, the question in chat, I don't believe so. I think it only goes up to 50.
Gold skulls is only up to 50, and you do get hints about them. For example, we know that 50 is nothing, 40 is nothing, 20 is nothing on this one. I don't think we've seen a 30 hint yet.
Nor have either of our runners checked with 10. I missed it that Datsa was going into everybody's favorite water temple. Because everybody loved this dungeon when they were a kid. Although I still find it amusing that they had to nerf this for its remake, and yet they left in a lot of the glitches for the game. Yes, Chopo, they are a little harder to find in Zelda 1 as far as bombs go. But then again, every time that
And now we finally got our ZL. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, not a problem.
You may continue.
Oh no, you're good on that one. You're good.
Oh, but it's much more interesting that bombs are harder to find in Z1 than it is that they got ZL, which is a very unimportant song in this game. So, what would we possibly need ZL for?
Maybe because they want to go. I think doesn't that only open up a handful of locations, like Sunsong location, which we know isn't going to be anything. They've already gotten to the Zoro. I missed that hint.
Yeah.
It said something about the Zora
Beanstalk, Zora Tunic in the desert on top of the rocks.
Which is something I don't think they'll need. Well,
No,
they might want it, but...
As long as you have at least 10 full heart containers, you're usually okay in Water Temple. And that's only if the central pillar is required. Apparently, King Zora killed a Skulltula overnight and kept the token.
And according to chat, they could just unload the grave to get into Sunsong location. But as we know, I believe that location does not have anything new.
You're getting Sunsong Grave confused with Royal Tomb.
Oh, am I?
Yes. Sunsong Grave is a separate grave in the graveyard. Royal Tomb has fire source needed, and there's also a song in there.
Ah, I know one of them has the gives the Sun Song. The other one has the Hylian shield.
Correct. There's 3 graves. One has the shield, another one's a Sunsong chest, and the third one is the big tomb, which has a song in it and another potential item. ZL also opens up 4 extra checks in bottom of the well. It opens up the boat in Shadow. There's a few checks in Spirit, although Spirit is not required for this scene. And it's also useful in Water Temple to change the water level.
Did they say whether or not the hero's path had anything in Spirit or not?
That was not one of the Way of the Heroes.
Ah.
It was water, fire, Hyrule Field, and bottom of the well, I think.
Well, we got a, is this the Fairy Fountain? I think it's Fairy Fountain.
Yes, it's a fairy fountain. It doesn't mean necessarily that there's nothing in Spirit. There may still be, like, the boomerang, for example, is an item they're going to need. Maybe in Spirit, maybe somewhere.
Ooh, a bottle of Lon Lon Ranch milk. Or the alcoholic milk in Majora's Mask.
The best milk on Earth.
I still find it interesting that Romani is actually given some by her older sister during the last hours of Majora's Mask.
Suppose you gotta enjoy yourself a bit before the moon comes crashing down on you.
Actually, I think on that one it was meant to actually help numb the fact that they were going to die. but still, that's getting a little dark on that one. So let's lighten the mood and say, looks like Asdor is back in the graveyard, while Natsu is going through the water temple.
And we're gonna get to see the very rare water temple river chest here.
And just 100 rupees, which they can't even carry all of.
Right, that was 200 rupees, but you're right, they only got about 100 out of it, so.
I'm just surprised that they don't just have everybody start with, like, at least the second upgrade for the wallet, which isn't it just like 200? Or is it 500?
It's 99, 200, 500, and 999 for the ultimate one.
And Asdor actually listening to that, actually listening to Navi for once.
But hey, if you don't have the Song of Storms, you gotta get into the well somehow. The only time that Navi is actually helpful.
And I have no clue if not the chest that Tatsu checked that's in the rare is, if or if not it's needed for the normal game.
Yeah, in vanilla, I believe it has a small key in it, but in randomizer, runners often skip it because it's a bit of a time sink.
So I guess it's like this game's version of Shot Tool from Super Metroid, I guess. So it looks like Asdor is getting to skip needing the Song of Storms. Wait, isn't the Song of Storms needed for the, God, I'm trying to remember it. Yeah. Doing the, no, they get to reduce the, water on that one, so isn't that no longer needed now?
So Song of Storms opens the well, of course, and it's also, I believe, 2 grottos that can only be opened with SOS, which may or may not have an item. We don't know yet. I don't believe it's actually required anywhere else, except for Frogs 2, of course, which we already know doesn't give anything this seed. So
Here's hoping the boomerang is in one of those 2 grottos.
it's also needed for Frogs 1. Incident.
As I said, here's hoping the boomerang is in there, because that's probably the only way you'll see an all dungeon seed right now, I guess.
Probably.
Ooh, Azador losing his shield, and
Asdor likes lights.
and
there's our boomerang. Yep.
Sorry for everyone, the Song of Time and Location is basically dead. Well, Datsu is killing the boss of Water Palace. Sorry, Water Temple. Getting my Zeldas confused.
Apparently, Asdor doesn't want a shield.
I guess they don't want their smashing board. As I always wondered why Link could never use his actual shield as a weapon.
Is Aster's low heart sound, is that Kakariko Gate opening? I'm just trying to figure out what that sound effect is actually from.
I know the knocking was, I think, Aster's, but I'm not sure about that, so... Although,
Yeah,
now that Go ahead.
Okay. Chat can confirm this. I think that's the sound effect when Kakariko Gate is opened by the guard.
Not sure. Although I was going to point out that, now that I think about it, there is one time the shield can be used as a weapon. And it took all the way to Breath of the Wild for you to be able to parry an actual laser attack back at a Guardian to basically just one-shot them. Well, one or two, depending on the Guardian type, but I guess that's the only time the shield has been a weapon.
This is true. Of course, shield surfing is much more fun, though. Much better use for it.
Not just that, but also don't they now have the ability to abuse that with gliding, plus basically the gigantic amount of height that can be got with the speed run? Oh, and shield clips.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with all the Breath of the Wild glitches, honestly.
I only know them just because of the random, seeing it on YouTube when people mentioned it, because it looks, interesting on that one.
And Aster picked up the Goron tunic, which at this point is not needed.
And also, he's been running around with the Goron tunic's color scheme for the entirety of the seed so far.
Exactly, so who needs it? Just give me a bucket of paint, and I'll be just fine.
Well, hey, it makes you wish that it actually had its Zelda, 1 and Link to the Past, ability as, basically a quarter, 3/4 less damage.
That would be really neat. A little OP for this game, but neat.
And chat's wondering whether or not Datsu lost the emerald. I don't think so, but don't quote me.
So now we get to see one of the rare uses for Prelude.
Oh hey, Prelude's putting in some work tonight.
Prelude right to Minuet. What is Aster doing?
Don't know while Datsu is saving and quitting and resetting. And I don't think I saw the emerald on Datsu's side, but I don't remember if not the actual stones are showed in the actual menu or not for that. At least for the randomizer, that is.
So once you read the tablet as adult and child, all of those will show up in your... if you go to your item menu and press A, you can actually see all of that, as well as keys you've collected, whether you collect the map and compass. So that's definitely a very useful ability. And another heart container from the Slingshot game. Target.
Does that make Aster up to, is it 8 or 9? Or total number of hearts?
Looks like 8.
So 2 away from being able to naturally just check Water Temple without needing Iron Boots.
I don't know if it's 10 or 9 needed. I mean, for me personally, it usually feels like it's about 10, but I don't know.
And as they're opening up the natural way to Zoro's domain,
and we get to see our first Hess of the game, I think, on Datsu's side.
looks like Asdor's going to Jabu. I think they got all the items to finish it.
That would be a good bet.
And the person asking in chat what was worth it in water, I'm not sure. I don't think there was anything major in there, but I could be wrong.
And Tektite Grotto just has a purple rupee. Yeah, chat, actually, both of our trackers tonight are first-time trackers, and they are both doing a phenomenal job. So, shout-outs to them.
I also recommend going to follow them for all the excellent work they are doing, because without them, we could not provide such excellent coverage of this excellent bronze medal match race 2.
Claim check isn't really needed in this seed anyway, because Big Goron doesn't give anything useful, so that's out.
I missed what was at the grave as far as song goes. Ah, good old Jabu Jabu.
I don't think it was that grave. I think it was the shield grave he was in.
Ah.
He doesn't have well, unless he unloaded it. I don't remember. I was watching Asdor's screen.
Yeah, I think I caught part of it, but I missed the other part. I think Datsu is going for, and he's got it. Thank you, Navi, for letting him into the well and depriving all of us of seeing them have to complete every dungeon. I find it amusing that Rudo just is like, hey, I'm royalty. Pick me up and just carry me out of here. Because I don't care enough to walk out. Oh, and I also find it amusing that it took Rudo actually writing a letter before her dad realized that she had been swallowed by Jabu Jabu. Tatsu going through the bottom of the well is probably going to pick up their boomerang, while Asdor is carrying Rudo through the inside of Jabu Jabu.
Yes, it's so exciting carrying Runo through Jabu. So exciting.
Well, at least we have to see Link carry her through there, unlike Wind Waker with all the crazy things they do with the 2 dungeons, or that one. Sorry, 3 dungeons they use that with. Because Medley actually can... Actually, no, Rudo can also do that one. Sorry, thinking Hyrule Warriors, where both of them are actually playable characters and are actually halfway decent. Chat saying there's nothing of the letter, and yet he's the one that wrote it. Wow. Someone either forgets a lot or just does not want to admit that they asked help. As we're taking down the giant, I guess, what, cow's tongue?
I call them eels, but I think technically they're called tentacles. So
yeah, it would be a tentacle trying to wrap itself around and do simple things to him. Or Rudo.
it's always so funny when Rudo yells at you when you leave her behind. How dare you leave me behind? I want you to carry me. I'm a spoiled little brat.
And yet, oddly enough, she does end up getting a bit less spoiled later on, but that's subjective.
At least she sort of helps you go to the right direction or the right place in Water Temple. So
yeah, but it's Water Temple. Everybody doesn't like the Water Temple. At least everybody that actually didn't play, you know, the remake, because the original and even the Master Quest version of that are just, wow, those are just not fun temples. I think fans have even put it as #1 for the least favorite Zelda dungeon. It's either 1 or 2.
yeah, when I do my seeds, I'm always a little bit upset when Water Temple's a medallion. I always love to skip it whenever possible. Dotso getting the boomerang and bailing. Probably gonna go over to Jabu now, I would imagine.
Most likely, and that being the only major item from there, if I recall. Asdor trying to get rid of a Skulltula. Still doesn't have a sword as Kid Link. Speak of the devil, there's the Figuron sword, I think.
No. Yeah. I was gonna say that the Kokiri sword could be in Ganon's castle. It's happened to be on a number of seeds.
Yeah. But again, when going to Ganon's tower as a kid, well, except for any percent, and even then you just use a stick.
I mean, you'd pick it up as an adult, technically, and then, you know, at that point it would be like, what's the point of it anymore?
What I don't get is why, if you still have it with you in your inventory, you can't just pull it out and throw it at Ganon. Like, hey!
I guess because some people thought that would be too much like Castlevania. I think Aqualung Cousins.
I just prefer the old comment, and the game said no. To answer the question in chat, no clue why adult Link can't use the boomerang, but kid Link can use the bow in Majora's Mask. I think, namely, it's because maybe he remembered how to shoot a bow afterwards, but not sure. Again, Prelude of Light getting some love. Personally, though, I think the reason Ruto is, you know, so impatient on that one is, looks like when she's sitting down, she's worried that she'll be stuck in there forever.
And there's Saria's song. And that was triggered by getting the Forest Medallion.
And choosing to equip the Bigoron sword. That's
and
right,
we have
big... go ahead, I was just about to make the joke about it.
Oh, another joke? No, I was going to say we have Forest, Fire, and Water medallions now, so Burning Cack Song is also available to us.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was just going to make the joke about the Bigoron sword. You know, no one really realizing that if you space the words out, it's Big Goron's sword.
Sorry.
And we've got the Fairy Fountain check by GT.
Yep, this is one we don't see too often.
Well, I've seen it checked, it's just normally you see people clip into it.
Precisely.
Ooh, quiver upgrade. And here's Nocturne, so we'll what, Shadow Temple play, you think?
I would imagine so. How is he gonna... He's probably gonna have to do the special jump and clip to get in there.
Well, we've got a grave check right now, so...
It could be very grave.
Yep, very grave indeed.
Or it could be something good.
This is what, a song check, if I recall?
Yeah, there's a song and an item, but no fire source. They can't get the item yet.
True, but the song could be very important.
At this point, I'm not sure what more they need song-wise.
What is
Requiem.
that? Urine?
That is Requiem, which technically is not logically needed.
Yes, but it does give access to another song, which, with what we have left, really won't help, except for travel time. And that's all I could think of, but it could check spirits for the outer locations.
Right, there's also some hints there. I still don't think we've seen a 30 skull hint yet.
No, we have not.
Although I'm not sure what else is needed at this point.
Maybe a fire source.
Maybe. Of course, you do need Dins for those 2 back chests in Shadow. Or actually, I think one of them you can get with a clip. But you need it at least for the other one. And that's just Serenade, the second most useless song.
Pointing out yet again, Prelude getting more love tonight. Not bad for a useless song, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, this is a pretty Prelude-heavy seed so far.
I mean, it's been quite useful just for travel purposes, especially going from Young Link to Adult Link to Young Link to Adult Link, especially if you didn't want to save and quit and, reset, because that does take a little bit of time. And looks like we are going to see a Spirit Temple play.
Asdor's doing Child Spirit again. We don't see that too often in races and Stone Dungeon, but could pay off. If Dins is in there, that could be pretty useful.
Plus, he's also got at least one magic bean left, so there's always the plant check there for later.
But that wasn't a useful item for what I remember. So,
not sure there. Would Din's Fire technically be considered useful if it's not really needed?
I mean, it's needed for maybe one chest in Shadow. Of course, entry into Shadow if you don't use certain glitches.
Then I think maybe it might technically be considered logical progression. It might not be on the way of the hero.
Yeah, I think with a Shadow required seed, I think it is in the logic that you would need it. But again, there are ways they can get into Shadow without it. And skip the one check and hope that the one check isn't anything useful.
Which at present I don't think it could be.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what else they need for Go Mode at this point. And I really don't think they need anything else for Go Mode if they skip or clip into Shadow.
I could only see maybe one or two small things. But those are more convenience of any, as far as anything else goes.
So given glitched logic, I might say they're both in Go Mode now, technically.
Yes, technically, although one of them has bombs and one of them doesn't, so that could be something, but probably not for runners of this caliber.
Chat's asking about Mirror Shield for Twinrova. Yes, Mirror Shield is needed to fight Twinrova, but Twinrova is a stone dungeon, so not exactly required.
I think Spirit is needed. It's got the light medallion.
Oh, that's right. So they are not in go mode. They still need Mirror Shield.
So go ahead.
I was going to say I got confused and I thought Spirit was a stone for some reason, but you're right, it's the light medallion, so...
Yeah,
Yep.
I just noticed that myself, so... Chat, technically Ocarina Spot is alive now. But that's only if the Mirror Shield is there. So that's like for a spot required for Mirror Shield. Oh wait, that's got Sun Song. Not Sun Song. Song of Storms, which really doesn't matter now, I guess.
The only way it would be an ADC and the Ocarina required would be if, for some reason, the Mirror Shield is in one of those two Song of Storms grottos, which certainly is a possibility.
Low possibility, but let's, believe in the possibility of that one. So I know chat will love it if it is.
Probably. I mean, there's a lot of other more check-dense locations. I mean, GTG, for example, has a ton more checks. I think GTG is something like 12 or 13 checks, so...
I'm assuming you mean Ganon's Tower?
No, I mean Grotto Training Grounds.
Oh. Sorry, forgot. Didn't realize.
Mirror Shield... Yeah, Mirror can't logically be in Ganon's Tower.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Looks like Dotso is actually clipping in... Wait, no, that wasn't Shadow. No, wait, it is Shadow.
Yeah, Dotso's in Shadow.
Oh, we were so
like...
on...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I was just going to say, while we're both looking at Azur's, Dotso went to Shadow.
Yes, Dotso is very sneaky like that, and I actually like this play because there are an awful lot of checks in Shadow. So,
although, what we do know is that a fire source cannot be in here because of Din's Fire needing to be entered. Well, technically, couldn't they have used fire arrows if they had it?
They could use fire arrow strat, so technically Din's Fire can't be in Shadow, logically, but fire arrows certainly can be.
Does the seed actually take into account how you could fire arrow one thing and then use a Deku stick to light all the other stuff, or what?
You know, I honestly don't know all of the intricate logic.
Don't know either. Chat, you know anything on that one?
You need to ask Test Runner or one of the devs, probably.
Not sure on that one. But, yeah, I think take that into account. Din's Fire could be in here if the fire arrow is technically considered in logic to be able to enter Shadow.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Glitch has a different logic set, but I'm pretty sure for most seeds, if Shadow is required, you will have to find Dins somewhere outside of Shadow.
As I said, it could be one of those weird things on that one. Like, I know for things like A Link to the Past and even Zelda 1, where the game will, well, even Super Metroid, where it's like, the logic may require you to do some pretty obscure things that you may not think about, and hey, there's the Rumble Pack! While both of our runners are looking into dungeons that the other hasn't been to, let's see what each one has for us today.
Yeah, so far nothing's been found in either dungeon.
And Tatsuo is really feeling not having ZL. When did he pick up Flora's Wind?
That is a really good question. Maybe it was in water? I don't remember seeing all the checks and water.
Not sure. Not sure. Not sure.
If water was Way of the Hero, that very well could have been it, because I don't see it. I don't even know if it's on the tracker. I was going to say I don't see it on Asder's side. But I know didn't he do water also?
I think chat's saying it's not on the tracker. I don't think Asder actually went through water, but don't quote me.
I don't think Asder actually went through water, quote.
Oh.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, don't worry. Looks like Asder's trying to do a mega flip. Here's the Iron Knuckle fight. As they're thinking about playing some music for us, deciding against it. And yep, getting that mega flip. So nothing really major found so far. in Shadow or Spirit. Now we do know Spirit is not on the way of the hero, but I don't remember if Shadow is or not. And there's the big key for Datso for Shadow. And another 100 rupees.
I don't think either Shadow or Spirit was on Way of the Hero.
Not sure either. It's been a while since they've checked the stone tablets. What would you call it? The actual pedestal of time. I think that's what they call the game. Called in the game the pedestal of time.
Vanilla, Big Key, and Spirit.
Fred! Shoutouts to any of the Z1R players that got that one.
Now, Astor still hasn't found Mirror Shield, so he's missing out on quite a few checks. And that's probably why he's preluding. Or minuetting, or something. So chat, let's start getting your guesses in of where we think that Mirror Shield is going to be.
You know, I think chat wants it in one of those two Song of Storm grottos.
I was just going to say that's a pretty strong possibility. My guess is going to be GTG, because there's like 15 checks in there.
So is it basically the Kakariko of Ocarina of Time, or is Kakariko basically the Kakariko of Ocarina of Time as far as sheer check density?
Kakariko? What?
Okay. Link to the Past reference. Kakariko and Death Mountain literally have the most locations you can check in, you know, that game. So I was asking, what are the two places that have the most check that, you know, locations to check in, you know, Ocarina of Time?
I think that would be GTG and Bottom of the Well.
So GTG is essentially the Kakariko of Ocarina of Time?
Yeah, I still don't get the Kakariko reference though, because there's a, I don't know.
Basically, it's because of the number of just sheer value, you know, as far as locations go.
Alright, so you're saying you're including all of Death Mountain and Death Mountain Trail and Crater with that, right? This Kakariko is its own.
No, I'm saying as far as just sheer single location checks. In A Link to the Past, the two most, you know, the check locations are Kakariko Village and Death Mountain. I was asking, is essentially the Gerudo Training Grounds the equivalent to that in A Link to the Past?
Alright, yeah, that makes sense now. I would say probably. Pretty close.
And
you confused.
It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, you confused me for a second because there's a Kakariko and OOT too, and I was trying to think of like, what? What are you?
Yeah, I know it sounded confusing, but yeah, as Wolf Link in chat points out, that there are exactly 14 just in the town itself, in A Link to the Past, and I think Death Mountain has like 15 or 16 in and of itself. But yeah, that's why I was asking, because it's in like in square footage, like game-wise, that's like the most dense location to check. Like if there was like a single location you should check if you're trying to find an item, you should go check there.
Yep, that makes sense.
So if Mirror Shield isn't there, then here's hoping we actually do get to see an Ocarina of Time location for that Song of Storm. Now remember, this logically would be an all dungeon seed because of the bottom of the well.
Right, Boomerang was in the well, and Boomerang was required for Jabu, and Jabu was a medallion, so logically, yes, it would be all dungeons.
And since, that's the only dungeon that would, Boomerang required, then there is a better chance that it could possibly be there.
Speaking of Mirror Shield...
Well...
Deep Fire.
Yep. Speak of the shield, and it shall appear. Now,
now we are in semi-go mode here, assuming that a fire source isn't needed for anything.
I think Asdor can manage to clip into Shadow, maybe? Question mark?
I'm pretty sure Asdor knows how to do it.
I'd say we're in no mode, but since this is a glitch tournament, I'd say we're in more of Schrodinger's go mode.
I like that reference.
Thanks. It's something I picked up from a lot of the other commentary with a lot of the other randomizers. It's where you have like everything for go mode. It's just all coming down to maybe one or two small things that you might need it, but there's a good chance you may not. The answer, Jopo in chat. Asdor basically is in go mode as long as a fire source is not needed and they can clip into Shadow Temple.
Correct. So Asdor, I think, is ahead at this point, as far as I could tell. So we're going to be looking at a possible Game 3. Just means more Zelda for us if Asdor wins.
Very true.
And chat was asking where he found the mirror shield. It was in Deep Fire on a skull, I believe, all the way in the attic. So, not a common check. Or like something that the runners check last.
So basically a French vanilla mirror shield. Same dungeon, just not the normal location.
Well, mirror shield is found in spirit, and in this case it was found in fire.
Was it? I thought it was still in spirit. My bad. believe the answer to the question in the chat, deep fire basically means very deep in the fire temple. And I still forget what the witches' names are in there. It's like K and K or something like that. I guess you could call them Kang and Kratos. No, that's not it. God, trying to actually make a reference that I screwed up the reference horribly.
They had the same names in Majora's Mask, too. Which makes it hard to remember.
And there's their names.
Komi and Katuki.
You know, I do find it amusing. They go from two old witches to when they form together to an actual younger, hotter, you know, witch. How does that happen?
Well, they are witches, so you never know.
Most likely.
Nice one cycle there on Astor's side.
Yeah, chat suggesting twice as much youth in one body. Don't know. I do think this cutscene in the vanilla game is quite amusing because they're complaining about how they notice the other one is dead. It's just like it takes them a while to actually realize it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite cutscenes. And in Majora's, yeah, I was gonna say Majora's is the one where the what is that? The Skull King, or I forget the character's name there in Akana.
Not sure, but the answer, Wolf Link in chat, apparently very deep in the fire temple. That is true. Apparently both of the witches do have halos, so I guess they do go to heaven. I mean, the Zelda theorists out there, like, apparently they helped raise Ganondorf, so maybe that was their good deed. And yeah.
I knew Astor knew it.
Yep. So yeah, this is essentially Astor's in go mode.
I almost thought for a second that he soft locked there. Apparently he missed the clip. Or missed the loading zone, rather.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can soft lock there or not. I think you just void out, go back there, I think.
There you go, getting ISG so he doesn't fall off the ledge.
Yeah, because this game is coded very well.
Right, because logically it makes a lot of sense if your sword is swinging infinitely that you'll actually stay on a ledge. And I would think it would be the opposite. You'd actually fall off the ledge because your sword is swinging so much and you can't keep your balance. But what do I know?
Hey, it's not as bad as the latest tech that's been found in A Link to the Past, where they found out that basically the hookshot and Canis Mario are now the two most broken items in the game.
Alright, so I have a question and a link to the past. In Swamp Palace, there's that one area where you're going towards the back, left side, where you have to pull the statue over the button to hold the door open. And I've seen a lot of times where the runner would have the Cane of Sumaria before doing Swamp. So why don't they just create a Cane of Sumaria block there to hold it open? Why do they always drag the statue? Or does it have
despawns.
Well, there you have it.
Green.
Thank you. I was always wondering that.
Oh, no problem. You've helped me out with learning stuff about Ocarina of Time. You know, it's the least I can do. Although, to tell you, with what they found recently with the hookshot, it's more the whole fact of it spurred a whole debate about whether or not what's NMG now and everything else like that. Oh, and they even stole one of the names of one of the glitches from Majora's Mask for it as a tentative name with Weird Shot. To answer the question in chat, they found a way for the hookshot to be able to push you through walls, door stuff, being able to use it to now clip through railings into basically, you know, clip through railing or two to get chests, that kind of stuff like that. It's pretty broken, and yet some parts still feel NMG, and other parts are like, oh, you can now skip all of Ganon's Tower just by having the hookshot do a few things because you used the lamp 3 times here, bomb there, just basically write coding to let it do that. Because apparently all Zelda games are coded very, very well. Wait, where was Din's Fire?
I'm sorry, did somebody say we found Din's Fire?
Yeah, Exodus in chat. Water Temple had Din's Fire.
Well, okay. Again, thank God for chat and our trackers, because we can't always pay attention to everything when we're commenting on stuff.
Apparently behind a bombable wall. All the Zelda games have a lot of weird things, so I just love seeing how crazy this series is. And both of our runners are basically in the same temple, just about in the same room, so would you call that a virtual high five?
They're not quite in sync.
It looks like Azador is going for the boss key door skip. I think that's what it is.
That is what it is. And by the way, I believe Friday evening will be a match between Exodus and Runner Guy. So definitely looking forward to that. You guys who are watching right now should check that one out too.
I know I'll try to check it out depending on how I feel after work.
Yeah, Exodus, what time is your match on Friday night?
Boingo Boingo. I mean, the floor is a drum.
Yes, it is. Okay, so Exodus's match is at 7 on Friday, so definitely looking forward to that. And that was a great fight on Astor's side.
And with this, Astor is officially has access to Ganon's tower, so all they need to find is the Ganon's tower big key.
It's Ganon's castle in OOT, but
It's
Same
tower in
thing.
a lot of different games. I think it's also in Wind Waker's tower, so it's castle, tower, Great Palace. It's Ganon's place of residence.
we'll call it Ganon's domain.
That'll work.
So chat was asking if Dins was considered Way of the Hero. So yes, logically in the seed, Dins would have been required to enter Shadow. So, and Water Temple was Way of the Hero. So yes, Dins would have been a Way of the Hero item.
You're right, it is castle. Now, someone actually mentioned something that would be crazy for this. Is there a Key Sanity version of this?
Yes, there absolutely is.
Not only that, but there's also a multi-world Key Sanity version of this. Where all of your items may be in someone else's game. And their items may be in yours.
Yeah, I would love to see a multi-world tournament. That'd be awesome.
Have they actually ever done the, God, what is it? The bit race stuff for Ocarina of Time randomizers yet? Where basically they can mess with a lot of things on that one?
You mean like the where the chat takes control of your character and does all kinds of weird stuff to it?
Yes, or like, you know, I've seen one for Mario 64 where they kept stealing stars.
Yeah, I haven't seen one for this game yet. I'm not sure how I would feel about somebody messing up my race, but whatever. Now you have the hook shot, now you don't. Now you have Din's fire, now you don't. It'd be pretty silly.
I don't know, most likely there would be a few other amusing things on that one. Like, I could see a few things for it, like with arrow bombs, like giving the thing ice physics, that kind of stuff. And also, Datzo is in their Boingo Boingo fight, with only Spirit being needed to be completed after that. So they're just needing to find the Mirror Shield for their go mode. Meanwhile, go ahead.
Alright, I was just gonna say not Astor, but Datso still has to go to fire, deep fire, to get his mirror shield first, so. What were you gonna say about Astor?
I was just gonna say that they had found the big key for Ganon's castle and are just about to Ganon.
Cool, where was that? Light Trial?
Whatever the one is that requires you to lift up the thing with gold gauntlets.
Yes, that's Light Trial.
Okay, also so as their gold gauntlets, so they only need the, as I said, mirror shield for go mode.
Correct. So it looks like we're gonna see a game 3, folks, in this match between these guys, so that's gonna be really great. Unless Astor dies like 40 times to Ganon, which could happen, theoretically.
Theoretically, yes and no. At least this isn't a 3-heart Ganon like the new low percent for Link to the Past. They found a way to skip the heart containers for the bosses. I do have to say, I do love the lore, you know, for Ocarina of Time having 3 endings, with one of them being where the hero loses. I've always wondered where that would probably be. What's your thoughts, Master Link?
I'm afraid I don't understand the question. How would Link lose?
Okay, you have heard of at least the Downfall timeline, right?
Not really?
Okay, official Zelda lore, there's apparently 3 endings to Ocarina of Time. The child timeline, where, you know, at the end where Link goes back in time. The adult timeline, which is basically what happens after Ocarina, you know, where Zelda, you know, the remaining time where after Zelda sends Link back. And then there's the timeline where Ganon wins.
Okay, but I still don't see a question in that.
My question was, where do you think, since the Downfall timeline happens, where Link loses, where do you think it would have actually happened? I know my personal thought is like right here where the Master Sword's knocked out of his hand. You know, it's the whole, he loses courage because of seeing, you know, all this stuff on that one. I mean, it makes so much thematic sense.
I just think the way the game's coded, the only way you could lose is to forfeit.
So time's on last hit, if I recall?
Correct.
Who needs a Master Sword where you have the Bigoron sword? And I believe that's time.
Not just yet.
Yeah, that's right. You still have to actually swing the sword. Now that's time.
That is time. 249.50. A sub 3. Very nice.
Not bad. Not bad.
And with that, we are going to have a game 3, match 3 between these two.
Which is going to be epic on that one.
Not sure what happened on Dotso's side. Did he forfeit? Or did he just get disconnected or something?
Not sure. Anyway, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
GG.
Yes, GG.
So, Astor, what did you think of the seed?
That was a pretty good seed. I'm really proud of how I played this one. It was actually crazy, like, how many Way of the Hero hints there were for dungeons.
Yep, we were thinking the same thing.
Hello.
Hey, Dots. GG.
GG. Oh, man.
So, chat, if you have any questions for the runners, you should ask now.
This was a really interesting one with the Way of the Hero hints. Like, it was, because it was logical all dungeons, and Bottom of the Well was the Way of the Hero. I mean, you didn't know for sure if even that Way of the Hero was required and glitched, but it was like, I had to play it as if it was an all dungeon seed, and I wasn't actually doing all dungeons. So, like, but most of the Way of the Heroes, like, you know, for all you know, it could be stuff like Din's Fire to get into the Shadow, or Iron Boots for Water Temple that you don't actually need.
Right.
Yeah, but this time it actually was needed with being the boomerang.
The well was needed, yeah. I didn't expect to find the boomerang there because I was thinking, like, I kind of wanted to wait until I found boomerang. Because I felt like it was less likely to be there because some of the checks are going to logically require it. But no, it was there.
I like Water Way of the Hero, Din's bait. Fire Way of the Hero, bow sling bait. Like,
I went back to Fire after, like, okay, so I got bow and sling from Fire, and sling was bait, but I went right back in after I killed Volvagia, and I cleared out as much as I could. I still didn't have hook shots, so I was sweating over, like, the Scarecrow checks, and I didn't want to spend, like, the last 10 shoes I had to hover up there.
right.
And there was nothing, so I was just like, okay, I already halfway committed to this. Now I have to do, like, the rest of the game that's directly in my path, and then once I run out of stuff, I'm going to come back here, so that's what I did.
Yeah, I think I actually got screwed over by Longshot because I found it super early and then kind of routed around that. So I was assuming it was GTG the entire time for Mirror Shield. And so I never touched Deep Fire again. I just got the boss key and went.
I only got the hook shot from Bombchu Bowling. Where's the other one?
Lens minigame.
Oh my god! Okay, that's really funny because I saw the Lens in Zora's River and I was child and I was like, I just like didn't feel like messing around with the Cuckoo, so I just jumped to it without it and I missed. And then I just never went back for it. I was like, screw it.
Yeah, I did the I did like my quote unquote standard route, which was field, valley, lake, dive to the domain, and then do the river. So I saw the Lens and then went to Deku and got magic, and I'm like, crap, I need the Lens.
So chat wanted to know how you felt about the Water Temple.
Water Temple is stupid, and I hate it, and I hate that it was bait, and it was dumb.
At least it wasn't Ruto's letter.
It was Din's Fire.
Yeah, Water Temple is a pretty stupid dungeon, generally.
Well, the other thing, too, is, like, if I had had Iron Boots, I could have gotten that chest the first time I was there, or had I had ZL, but where were the hover boots, by the way?
I don't remember.
I don't remember
They
either.
were early.
Yeah, it had to be super early.
I think they were Dante 1.
I never did Dampe.
Oh my god.
I spent like an hour in Child 1 and like not doing Dampe.
I felt like I was cutting corners because I felt like with the Way of the Heroes you would logic things out similarly to me and your execution's better, so I was like I probably need to cut more corners. So like after I found Boomerang and Bottom of the Well, I checked the rest of the skull shards, and I just left.
Yeah, my logic routing got baited hard by Longshot. Because having it that early, and then also having like all of the hints to do all of the other stuff. So I'm just sat here like, okay, I can do fire, let's go do fire. I can do forest, let's go do forest. And then I just never went to GTG.
Did you do top of forest?
No, I did the bottom and then just clipped.
I was worried about GTG because of Epona song was super early.
So apparently neither one of you did GTG.
Oh, yeah, let me unlock this thing.
It's just so checked in. So when you were both looking for the mirror shield, we were starting to think, you know, that could be a location to check because it's so check dancing.
That, or it would have been in one or two of the Song of Storms grottos. I know chat was hoping for that.
Oh, that would have been awful.
I
was not playing for that at all. No way.
Did you ever go to DC?
I did, but I didn't. I did everything except for the back. So
Okay.
I didn't feel like using 2 chews to light the eyes, so I just didn't.
Yeah. I didn't feel like using one shoe to just enter the darn thing.
I had hammer. I had hammer first because I followed Hyrule Field Way of the Hero. That was the first thing I did as adult was backwalk to all of the grottos. So I found hammer early.
I forgot that was there, so I had my Hyrule Field Way of the Hero blank for a really long time as to what the item was, and ended up checking everything.
Yeah, you
One
kept
of you bombs.
I was gonna say to Dot, so he kept bonking into that tree to get like one green rupee, so he could get the stupid hammer from the scrub. It's pretty funny.
Oh my god.
It's a good strat.
Hey, that's not countable. Running in and out of the shop to get Deku sticks. They're always useful.
Oh yeah. What am I looking for? Oh, here we go.
So, are you looking forward to round 3, or not, as the case may be?
Gerudo had a slingshot and a bomb bag and a magic meter. So that slingshot would have, yeah. Dang it! If I'd gone GTG earlier, I would have known. Neither the
like-
bow or the sling was Way of the Hero.
I didn't think so. Like,
Yeah, it's
I-
so
I-
rare.
yeah.
Well, technically, Bo was Way of the Hero just for Ganon.
Well, there was another one, the double defense. So that bow wouldn't have shown up because there were 2.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so Way of the Hero has, like, if something points to Way of the Hero, then logic, like, 100% forces you to get that specific one. So if there's, like, 3 bows available, the 3 different quiver upgrades, and they're in, like, they're not locking each other, then they aren't Way of the Hero. So the Mirror Shield and Fire was Way of the Hero. I was still looking for that, that's why I went back in.
The other one was Spirit top chest, and then
I was thinking of, like, I knew Bottom of the Well Way of the Hero was, like, definitely the one I wanted to follow because it's the one that's behind everything
yeah.
that you don't want. So that was obvious, but, like, I was really thinking about water for a long time because that was also, like, it's behind Iron Boots and I don't know where they are and I don't want to look for them, but I also kind of want to have them if I go there, so it's like, well, what do I do?
Yeah, this one was weird.
And of course, we were commentating on Way of the Hero just before you found the boomerang, and we're like, well, that's logical.
I was hoping it was Mirror Shield.
Yeah, me too.
So is there any one item that either of you thought was trolling you this seed? I mean, there's always at least one item that trolls our runners.
Long shot. So normally it's not having it. This time it was having it.
Yeah, I've had experiences like that in Link to the Past with Ice Rod. God, that item's awful. I don't know if I feel like an item was really trolling me this seed. Like this was really good for me.
Rolling Corn is Child, Bomb Bag, Ice Cavern, Bomb Bag, and Gerudo Training Ground, Bomb Bag. Jeez.
Does Rolling Corn require a bomb bag in 4?
Yep.
Okay.
Palm locked bombs. Gotta love it.
So that was Ice Cavern. I guess the biggest thing that could have trolled me, I guess, or that I felt was like missing for a long time was Zelda's Lullaby.
Mm-hmm. We need to just like.
It's always an ice cavern.
It's always an ice cavern. Just go there immediately. Like, do you have Ruto's letter in Child 1? Go to ice. Do you not have Ruto's letter in Child 1? Go to ice anyway.
Don't forget G2G. I mean, if it's got that many locations, it's sort of worth the check.
No, GTG is useless.
Yeah, the
Never
thing with
has
GTG
anything.
is it looks like it has a lot of items, but it's a troll because all of the checks require a ton of stuff. Like, it was actually a good call in this one logically because you had the long shot, really early Epona's song, a bow to do all the other stuff, and Song of Time. So the entire thing was in logic. It was just useless.
I can't believe I still have to play another game.
I know.
This has gone on forever.
What, you don't want to actually play another one?
I don't want to not play it, but it's also like this.
Yeah.
Should we just declare it a draw? You're both 3.5 place.
No, I'd be alright with that.
Nah.
Well, we expect the next one to be a great match, so we're looking forward to it.
Rematch right now.
Well, I didn't expect this one to be a great one. So.
No. Yeah, I put in 0 practice for this, and was also running all dungeons and watching Beta Quest. So my rando foo was really, really off.
Yeah, I also have put in 0 practice for this, and I've been doing like Link to the Past cross keys and Super Metroid hacks. So I haven't been playing this at all.
Hey, I didn't play Ocarina of Time Speedrun Rise. I've played it casually years back, but you both looked like you did a good job.
Thank you.
So do you find it difficult, like you're playing one game and then you sort of have to get into the mindset of a different game? Do you find it difficult sometimes to switch between playing different games?
With this game, with this game, yes. With the other games I play, not really, because I have so much more experience in them. But I was inactive in this game for many, many, many years, and I don't know most of the new stuff, and I've forgotten so much stuff, so it's not really familiar to me anymore. So it's like, it's not easy for me to pick up and play this like it is some other games.
Yeah, this one's my main one, and I don't really play anything else. It's just other variations of this. So it's more of a mindset thing than an execution thing for me.
I think in terms of mindset, like, I do a lot of other randos, so I'm probably in the correct mindset, but don't have the execution.
Right. Yeah, whereas right now I'm running RTA, so... And playing bingo, it's like, none of that helps.
Well, I think that might do it for us tonight. I still think, you got any final thoughts? Dato?
I got nothing.
The answer in chat, Troy X. Is that the cross one between that and the Link to the Past?
Super Metroid X Fusion coming in 2020.
So yeah, so anyway, thank you guys for putting on a good race. Thank you to my co-commentator, Mangius. And thank you very much to our trackers for doing such a great job for us tonight. And thank you for chat for helping us out when we miss things.
Yep. Thank you again to our runners for putting on an excellent race. And I guess that's it for us tonight.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, y'all. See ya.